What's up, guys? It's Corey from Lion Dads back with another video. This one's a subject that's near and dear to my heart, one that I think is extremely important, and that's working out on a carnivore diet. So a lot of us become dads and family men. We kind of make ourselves less of a priority. We get to a point where we're building our careers, we're spending time with our kids, we're doing stuff at home, and so on and so forth. And when we get into those routines and focus kind of on our responsibilities in our lives, that leaves little time for ourselves. We put aside the things that we used to be passionate about, our self care routines, stuff like that. And I, for one, consider working out to be one of the ultimate forms of self care, next to consuming a good diet. Well, it's like nutrient dense and gives you all the beneficial things you need. So, see, as fathers, responsibility is always the first word that comes to mind for me, right? So I know a lot of us, we live in two parent households, probably, maybe, and not all of us, obviously, but a lot of us. And when your wife works and you split a lot of responsibilities and all that, I know in my house, the people in it look to me as a provider still. Especially, I have two older boys, and they come to me for guidance on a lot of stuff, because I've been there, I've done that. And of course, we have a baby running around now. She keeps us busy. It's a lot of work for both of us, and balancing that with jobs and other, activities and everything else. So it doesn't leave a lot of time, to do the things that you want to do, especially if you're, still trying to date your wife and stuff, which trust me, you need to keep doing. But just all the overall dad day to day responsibilities in life, balancing your job and, all the kid stuff and everything. So like a lot of guys, a lot of dads in these kind of, lifestyles, I got into some bad habits, allowed myself to make a lot of excuses. I told myself that I don't have a lot of time for myself, for me, to do the things that I need to do for my own personal happiness and growth and things. Guys who get to work out and stay in awesome shape, that's, for younger guys, I'd always say that. Single guys who are blessed with good genetics, things like that. These are just excuses. When I compared my situation to other people, I felt like I was just too busy to really get into a good exercise gym routine. I felt I was too tired on a Sunday to meal prep some actual healthy food. It's just easier through the week to grab something quick from the cafeteria at work or like a drive through. And honestly, I was just lying to myself. These are excuses, and they kept adding up. I just kept adding them up and kept making them. And I was being lazy. I wasn't holding myself accountable, and that's the quickest way to becoming basically like an out of shape, lazy piece of shit, which is what I considered myself now that I look back at it. It's not that extreme, but that's kind of the way I felt after a while, right? And what it takes is a change, You change one dynamic in your life and you stick to it, and you'll often see that other things in your life will eventually, fall in line as well. So when I started eating a carnivore diet and I noticed the results that came with it, I felt like I was kind of cheating myself in a way. I was eating great. I'm getting all the nutrients, the macros, the micros, and everything. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better than I had in years. And it didn't help that gyms got shut down for a while for certain reasons, but that's beside the point. Another excuse, right? I was getting in all these good foods, these good nutrients, lots of protein, had all this energy, but for what? What was the point of doing all this good and not using it? Using this fuel I was getting, using these nutrients I was getting, you know, taking advantage of this awesome diet I'm on. So luckily I had some equipment at home and I started really developing a good exercise routine. To do it, regularly, you need to make it a habit. And that to me was the toughest part, just getting into it regularly and making the time to commit to it every day. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people have. I was in need of like a big life adjustment and I had to get creative to make it work. So I realized the best time for me was early on in the day. So the problem with that was I've never been much of a morning person. I've always kind of liked sleeping in, staying up for a little bit after everybody went to bed, get some nice quiet time to myself. That's something I've always valued, and I still do value that time. I guess I'm kind of like an introvert in that way. So I really had to work hard to get myself on that type of schedule. That would allow me to get up, work out while everybody else is asleep, eat something, go through my day, and then do all the family stuff at night, eat dinner, hang out, if we need to run around, do stuff, all that, and not have to worry later on in the day about where am I going to fit a workout in. So looking at it from that angle, it really is another excuse. We fall back on excuses so often. So I had to reframe my mindset. I basically taught myself to get up early, force myself through morning workouts. I had to get to bed early. Making something a habit, just it's not easy, and when you get into it and it becomes a routine, it actually becomes pretty rewarding. It allows me to accomplish my goals and keep that time that I have with my family and all that awesome stuff that, life has to offer. So my workouts have become a non-negotiable factor in my life. I make sure I make a point to never miss them. I don't schedule days off when I'm working out. I let them just kind of come to me, and they do for sure. Things happen, life gets in the way, you get tired, you don't feel so good. They will come to you. You don't always need to schedule them, if that works for you. The important thing, though, is that I needed to come up with a system that works for me, and my system may not work for everybody else. They may be into something. There may be something else that you might not enjoy. There's so many options when it comes to finding an exercise program. So whatever you like, you can find a way to implement it into your life. I always recommend starting out with a strength training program, of course. That's what I like a lot. You're getting in all this quality nutrition, so why wouldn't you start weight training, right? You'll be getting a ton of protein in from animal sources, so you might see that you can put on muscle a lot faster than you ever have. I mean, that was my experience anyway. Like I said, we're all different, and that's just something that I recommend. Cardio is also, obviously a good option. I'd pair a good cardio program to complement my lifting program for sure. I'm not one of those people. It's like, don't do cardio; it'll eat away at you, and all this kind of stuff. There's tons of different options you can do. You just have to find out what works for you. So don't let this vision of you grinding away on a treadmill for an hour scare you away. Because I sure as hell can't do that. I hate running, but I do know the value in cardio and how important it can be. So I always thought of it as running and stuff, but man, there's so many different things you can do. Like, so my favorites are like swimming and bag work. Just like hitting heavy bag boxing type workouts. And you'd be shocked at how much of a sweat you can work out just hitting the bag for a while, and how much fat you can burn by swimming a bunch of laps at a local pool or something. And I also have experience as a swimmer going back to my childhood, so that works for me. I'm good. It's something I'm good at. It's something I enjoy. I don't know why. It's basically the same. You're just kind of doing a movement, like movements over and over for laps, kind of like running. But I can go places when I'm swimming. My mind can go, and I can think. Versus when I'm running, I can just all I focus on is how much I hate it. You know what I mean? I just hate running, and I'm not big on biking either. But who knows? You may be the opposite. You may love running. You may love biking. You may hate hitting a bag. You may not be able to swim. I know a lot of people can't swim. Find what works for you. Walk. Do something though. That's the big point. Is just get out and do something. I just can't stress enough how I recommend a fitness program to go along with the way you're eating when you find a good way that you're eating, even if it's not a carnivore diet, right? It'll help you build a physique you always dreamed of while getting you healthy in the process. But the truth is, if you find a way to make it enjoyable and doable for you, you'll make it stick and you'll reap the benefits. You don't even have to go balls out to start. Just get started doing something. You'll see results that motivate you to keep going and keep improving. So, with that said, some words of caution, especially if you're on like the carnivore diet and you decide to start working out. There are some people who report like extreme fatigue while they're working out, mostly in the early stages of the diet. This is actually a thing that I did experience. And when I looked into it, the way it was explained to me was that it was due to becoming fat adapted, in which your body is switching to burning fat from energy. So when I first started, I was like, damn, I'm burning out quick. I wondered if this was even sustainable for me. I'm like, I'm just like burned out on my workouts, like quick, fast. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And what I didn't realize was that my body was so used to burning, carbs for energy for so long, I was tapping into a different fuel source and I had to adjust to that. And that process takes time. It's not an overnight thing. And I just don't want any of you being shocked when you start working out and you wear out a little quickly, at first in your workouts. In my experience and in the experience pretty much everyone I've worked with, this passes as you go on. And you'll eventually start burning the fat for energy, and it'll feel just the same as when you're using carbs for energy, if not even, more efficient and better in certain ways. And so the awesome thing about it was that I never lost any strength. The endurance stuff happened at first, but I never got physically like weaker. So when I would try other diets before I found this one, I might lose weight rapidly, but it often came at the expense of like strength and muscle tone sometimes. I could lose weight, I mean significant amounts of weight when I switched to a carnivore diet, and I never lost any strength. It would actually, if anything, increase strength on a lot of lifts. So I don't know why this is really. I've seen a lot of videos and research that it's due to muscle retention from the high protein content in the diet. But like I said a bunch of times, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist. I'm just a human lab rat running experiments on myself. And what I get is what I report. Once again, the results aren't just limited to me. I've helped a bunch of people on this diet, including my son, and they see the same thing. The strength doesn't go down. So I think overall, just because this diet's so efficient at building muscle, from my experiences, you'd be crazy like not to take advantage of that by getting in some sort of fitness program. It doesn't matter. Find what works for you and just do it. Get to work, do the work. That's all we can really do is do the work. And I'm not saying go in there, go balls out and destroy yourself right off the bat. If you haven't exercised regularly in a long time, obviously ease into it. You know, Find the things that you want to do. If you want to lift weights and don't know where to start, ask around, or hell, ask me on here, Twitter, or whatever. Leave a comment down below. See if anyone in here has any ideas. Better yet, let us all know in the comments what you're doing fitness wise, what your plans are, what your goals are moving forward. Talk to each other about it. Talk to me about it. I'd love to get in on a conversation like that. And as always, the links to all my socials and stuff are down in the description. Hit like and subscribe. And until next time, peace out.